Cool. I think we're live. Um, yeah,
Perfect. So welcome everyone. Super excited to kick off the first ever EigenLayer AVS community hackathon alongside EigenLayer, Movement Labs, Polymer, Rosetta, Witness Chain, Authentic, OpenLayer, and a lot more folks. But definitely all of them are the hottest AVSs in town and some of the best teams to work with. We've been particularly stoked about this hackathon because we've also been an operator on EigenLayer, which also has led us to see, the building of the entire ecosystem from the testnet to now, and a lot of AVS is popping up, making it even more vibrant and interesting. I'll give you an overview of the opening ceremony of how it's going to look like. Um, but yeah, these we have some of the guests with us. We have Steve from DoraHacks, Boba, and Kratos from Drosera team, Pankaj from the Witness Chain team. We have Yarden from the Authentic team, Ken from Polymer Labs, and the youngest one in the room, Gajesh from the EigenLayer team, to give you a lot of context and examples, and set a very good base for you to start building on EigenLayer and EigenLayer AVSs. Um, but yeah, at first I'd love to sort of, have Steve on the floor. And Steve, maybe you can talk about why we decided to do Hack AVSs, why we've been particularly interested about the ecosystem.
yeah. So don't want to take too much of everyone's time, but I'm Steve. I'm part of the DoraHacks team. Very happy to have this opportunity to work with. I think a lot of the AVSs in the EigenLayer ecosystem to actually use this as opportunity to introduce every single new AVS to the developer community for the first time, properly via, I think, a series of workshops, introduction to their bounties, and this is also, I think, a great chance to get to know more about the EigenLayer ecosystem, how to get involved as a developer, as an ecosystem participant. And I actually think that AVSs are the core of EigenLayer. And there are a lot of interesting services that different projects are providing. A lot of them are unique that you've never seen in the other ecosystem before, uniquely leveraging the shared security feature provided by EigenLayer infrastructure. Um, so yeah, this is definitely, I think, one of the best opportunities to build your own startup, to actually try out the services provided by different AVSs. There are DeFi protocols, DPIN, there are a lot of attestation protocols, and you can even build your own application or your own chain. With the help of a lot of AVSs, with the help of EigenLayer itself. And I'm just like very happy to see that, today we're calling from the States, from Iowa, we're calling from India, we're calling from Tel Aviv, we're calling from Singapore. As you can see, EigenLayer is already growing into a global community, and happy to use this opportunity to grow a global developer community for this ecosystem. So I definitely think that this is one of the most exciting I think, milestone, not just for the ETH community, but also for the global Web3 community in general. And for a lot of developers looking into building their own startups to try out different interesting, I think, bounties and challenges, this hackathon will be a great opportunity for you. So different partners are offering bounties, workshops, in the next, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks. And there are a lot of learning opportunities, and a lot of the, I think, guests today are also mentors and judges of the hackathon. So feel free to use the next 2 months' time to fully participate and engage with the best talents, the best mentors. And this is a golden opportunity for you. So yeah, if you have any questions throughout this whole hackathon, feel free to reach out to the Dora team, and we're happy to connect you all of the amazing mentors that not just like attended this opening ceremony today, but also we have I think amazing judges and mentors coming from I think the venture landscape, from the AVS founding teams, and from the developer community as well. So I want to thank all of the guests for joining us at the opening ceremony today. I do welcome you to introduce yourself and your, I think, your vision for EigenLayer ecosystem growth for your own project, and also for how developers can best engage with your protocol in the next 2 months. And thank you all for like joining this hackathon together with the Dora team.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Gajesh, I'd like to bring it to you next, as the entire mastermind behind the ecosystem. I'd love to know from you, actually, what does the roadmap looks like in terms of, developers building on EigenLayer and different AVSs, and also like, what are the, hot projects you expect coming out of the ecosystem?
Sure thing. Yep, I'm Gajesh. I do developer relations and engineering at EigenLayer. And yeah, thanks for having me for this grand opening ceremony. And yeah, I think like in like we are looking at like multiple AVSs like coming and building with us, and like it's just really awesome to see like the 8 AVSs which went live last month. And yeah, right now we have oracles like bridges and EigenDA obviously. And yeah, I think I'm super excited for like different like AVSs which are different like AVS consumers which are going to roll out soon. So like people who will be using these AVSs to like build apps on top of this, and like different rollouts which are coming out with EigenDA. Yep.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Gajesh. Super excited about the different themes coming up on EigenLayer. We also have Boba and Kratos from us with Drawsera, and definitely Drawsera is a team we've been, following the progress of since long. But they're also sponsoring a bounty, which is a very sweet one. So maybe, after you guys have also spoken about Drawsera, also throw some light and tease the devs about the bounties that you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here, but I can see if I can kind of keep it sweet and short. So what is Drawsera? Drawsera is a security automation protocol. This is basically a new type of protocol that hasn't existed before. And it's in the realm of decentralized security. So basically the context here is that Drawsera is building what we're calling the application security economy. It's innovating on this new category of Web3 native security products. We're kind of saying, so this is called decentralized incident response. This is where dApps and users can use our technology to create security infrastructure as smart contract code. And you can delegate this smart contract code to node operators. And those node operators are kind of monitoring and running your smart contract code 24/7, looking for any type of incident that you've defined in your smart contract code. And so this could be like looking for exploits, looking for ecosystem-wide events, and then taking some action. So that's really kind of the context of what Drawsera is and the realm it lives in. I think I'll kick it off to Kratos to talk specifically about like what the bounty is and like what we're really expecting for this track that we're calling a security automation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Boba. So yeah, I'm Kratos. And so for the bounty, what we're sort of looking for is, applying these traps, creating traps for past, exploits, or even just monitoring current protocols. So for example, as a case study that I've done in the past to understand, how traps can be used, I took a look at the Prisma exploit that occurred not too long ago. And so some of the things and some of the mindset that you need to be in when creating these traps is, what is most important? What are the hackers specifically like after, right? And so in the case of Prisma, which is like a lending protocol, it would be the user's collateral. And so that case of the exploit, the attackers are able to sort of move the collateral outside of the protocol into a different address. And so some of the key aspects that I was looking at for this exploit and for creating this trap was, essentially, because how traps work is you're able to compare, blocks on like a block by block basis, right? And a sort of time series analysis. Currently with like monitoring systems, you're able to, it's kind of like a snapshot looking at block by block. In the case of Drosera and creating traps, you're able to actually take an array of previous blocks and do some sort of analysis like derivatives or change that have occurred since previous block. And so in this case, I was able to see, looking at the blocks, was there a decrease in collateral for a user's position? Okay, so there was a decrease in user's position, and so then did their collateral balance increase? No, the balance didn't increase, so there was no redemption. Okay, was there a liquidation event? No, there's still debt in their position. So keying off of those signals, I was able to determine that yes, like collateral was essentially siphoned from their position on Prisma. And so that's just one key example that that you can sort of model your traps off of and sort of put yourself in that mindset.
Yep. And for resources, I think you can go to our GitHub Drosera network and look at the examples repo to see a couple of examples there, and look at the DeFi Rect database to see just previous hacks that have occurred. And the DeFi Hack Labs GitHub has really great examples of hacks occurring in Foundry.
Perfect. But yeah, so for all the information about the bounties and all the developer resources that we will be talking about during the course of this opening ceremony, you can find everything on the HackAVS page on DoraHacks. But yeah, for the Drosera bounty, it's all going to be about security automation, which is, creating infrastructure for incident detection, or as we call them, traps. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for sharing more on that. I'd love to bring it to Pankaj now. And a super cool thing about Witness Chain's involvement is that they are supporting 2 tracks, one of which is Deepin and another is Rollup Watchtowers, both of which they've been working on super hard. But yeah, Pankaj, would love to know more about both the tracks from you. And also, what do you expect developers to come out with in both these tracks?
Yeah, for sure. So here I'm Pankaj from Witness Chain. So to give a context, what Witness Chain is building is the deepen coordination layer. So the problem that we're trying to solve is that deepins are inherently modular. So if you see, each deepin has its own specialized deep tech protocol. If you take Filecoin as storage deepin, you have cellular, you have energy deepins, and so on. So this modularity naturally means that they remain siloed from one another, and their economies and their all their value flow remains separated from one another, isolated from one another. And this means that if you're, for example, a Filecoin node sitting here in Delhi, India, where I'm right now, is being asserted that an Andina node is also sitting here in Delhi, India, it has no way to actually verify that, and no way to use this Andina's resources, Andina node's resources, because it's outside its protocol network, outside its deepen network, and there are no trust guarantees between the two. So what we identified, the fundamental problem that blocks this composability or hampers this composability between deepins is that there's no consensus over their physical state. So what do I mean by consensus over physical state? So if you think about all the consensus protocols that exist in Web3 in crypto right now, proof of stake, proof of work, all of this, they try to achieve consensus or an agreement over digital assets or digital states, which can be your account balances, which can be your smart contract state like Ethereum does, things like that. But physical attributes or physical states like location of a node, the network capacity, the storage capacity, compute power, energy, storage capacity, these things are physical attributes, and there has been no consensus protocols for these kind of physical attributes, and deepins are all about this physical infrastructure resources. And so what Witness Chain is doing is we solve this by building this proofs of consensus protocols for physical states, and bring all of those deepins on the shared layer. That is what we are calling this deepin coordination layer that we are building. And we are starting off with proof of location and proof of bandwidth. But we also, it's an open layer, and other protocol innovators are also welcome to add their own proof systems to this.
You're going to stay here?
Sorry. So once you have these proof systems on the shared layer, what happens is composability is enabled, because now everyone agrees that these nodes are present in these locations they have the specific amount of performance that they are claiming to have, be it network performance, be it storage capacity, whatever the deepen specializes in, and they are able to prove that now. And all of this is, of course, secured by EigenLayer's cryptoeconomic security, and that is where these challengers proven model of our proofs come into the play. So with this, so for deepen track, we are looking for people to build innovative solution on top of our coordination layer, where you can build things like futures market for these kinds of physical infrastructural assets. Because now once there's an agreement, you can tokenize these assets, right? You can tokenize, let's say, energy, because everyone agrees that these nodes have that much energy capacity present. You can tokenize storage, you can tokenize compute, you can tokenize like GPU compute, it's a different type of compute. And so you can enable this kind of tokenized futures market, for example, or you can also create more innovative applications. With proof of location, you can create a kind of geo-decentralized index, decentralization index, by which you can kind of create a map of sort, if you're more creative or if you're more technical, to see how decentralized the network really is. And then because a lot of these networks rely on the degree of decentralization to reward their users. So uniqueness and decentralization. So if helium hotspots exist at places where there are no hotspot, it is more valuable because now more newer users are able to access their services, and they would like to reward those operators more. That's just an example use case. So these kind of use cases can be built on top of this composable this coordination layer. And we are this deepen hackathon track is more of a use cases type of hackathon. So we are looking for innovative case studies, integration with existing deepen projects, and any ideas that you can bounce off of with this coordination layer. The resources for the same, I think, will be available on the DoraHacks page itself, and others you can, of course, go back and refer to our docs as well. Coming to the roll-up watchtower track. So roll-up watchtower is essentially our own in-house deepen. So if you think about it, the OG deepen in the crypto space was Bitcoin, which was a deepen of compute, which was computing states of the deepen or states of Bitcoin itself, right? And this is nothing but a state validation network, and that compute being used for state validating the state of Bitcoin blockchain itself, Bitcoin ledger. And similar thing is lacking for rollups, and that is what we are trying to bring with our rollup watchtower network, where a credibly neutral set of decentralized nodes actually validate all the rollup transactions and rollup state assertions to make sure that they are actually valid. And this is done with proof of diligence, which is a incentive aligned manner of doing it, so that so as to avoid the lazy validator problem. So currently, so that is a scientific breakthrough, right? Because the lazy validator problem exists, and that is the reason why currently there's no validator set available on rollups. Because if you start incentivizing people to validate your rollup transactions, people might just agree to saying that these transactions are valid without actually computing it. And we solve this scientific problem, and our research on proof of diligence can also be accessed from our docs. We have research as well as very detailed developer docs. And this track of rollup watchtowers will be a developer track, because once you have this kind of validation network, you can use it for multiple things. You can use it for tracking the transaction throughout its journey. For example, if you want some guarantees on your transaction being included in the sequencer, you can do that. You can track the transaction all the way from inclusion all the way up to state assertion getting finalized on L1. And you can also use it for fast finality. For example, bridging solutions, right? If they know on the source chain, bridges require this kind of guarantee for the chain to not roll back. And if they can get a cryptoeconomically secure guarantee that this transaction is legit and the state won't roll back, they can provide seamless and faster bridging solutions to their end users. So and on deepen track, we are looking for these kind of building-based use cases, and we have developer docs, SDKs, and other resources available for this. You'll be able to find the same in our docs as well as on the DoraHacks page. So yeah, that's the whole witness chain ecosystem introduction to it for you guys and what we're doing with the hackathon. And I think super excited for all the creative things that you guys will build.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pankaj. For everyone watching, I know it might be, you might feel very overwhelmed with all the information that's been given off today about different bounties, about the different tech. But just stay with us. We'll also have a series of workshops wherein all the partners would have their own dedicated time to talk a lot more about their tech, a lot more about their product, a lot more about the different kinds of things you can come and do on their AVSs. But yeah, this is just like a teaser of everything that we are bringing on to you. With that being said, to summarize what Pankaj said, there is a deepen track, which is all about a use case, figuring out use cases of the deepen that Witness Chain is bringing on to you. And another one is the roll-up watchtower track, which is more of a development track, wherein you will be encouraged to build, on by brainstorming different use cases of the roll-up watchtower that is up and live. With that, next, I'd love to bring it to Yarden from Authentic. Again, the Yarden from Authentic, these guys are empowering the Babylon and the EigenLayer ecosystem building on the intersection. Would love to hear it from you, Yarden, about what the developers should expect and what it looks like from backend.
I will try to make it very simple. I will frame it first, and then maybe have some modification to it. So what we build is basically the Cosmos SDK for EigenLayer. Basically, it's a stack. It's a library of production-ready components to easily spin up AVSs. Basically, AVS developers can take the pre-built component that we already developed, self-deployed, this is super important, self-deployed, configure according to their own needs, and spin up their own unique AVS. What we allow basically is to accelerate AVS time to market, is to reduce unnecessary underlying infrastructure risk. Basically, we abstract away all of the error-prone infrastructure details, reduce, of course, engineering overheads, and allow team to focus on their core services instead of the development of low-level components. We are currently working with over 20 AVSs in different design stages. 6 of them already on Eigen testnet. We will announce the first 4 next week. And we love to think through AVS's architecture design. Basically, how we work is we provide access to 2 things. One is to our GitHub repositories, and the other is a CLI interface where the AVS developer can easily deploy, configure, test, and run, and overall manage the AVS stack over time. And this is us.
Thanks a lot, Yarden, for the short and sweet introduction. We'll definitely, come back to you in the workshop series as well. But yeah, we also have Henry and Ken with us. Henry is from Picasso. And I remember talking to Henry during the App Chain Day, Hong Kong. And what he said really stood with me. Hey, we can diversify security. Why not diversify security? Henry, I'd love for you, if you're with us, I would love for you to talk more about Picasso and what you're expecting out of HackAVSs and what you want the developers to know about Picasso.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. So for Picasso, I think most people don't know is that we're a Cosmos L1 chain, and we're actually in discussion with Ethos to utilize a portion of our security for from EigenLayer. So, we're excited about the future of basically shared security and using economic security from multiple sources. So our L1 Cosmos chain will be secure by Pika token, will be secure by, in the future, hopefully EigenLayer, and also our own restaking layer that's building on top of Solana. So, for us, in a strange way, we're building our restaking on Solana, but we're also AVS on EigenLayer. So, we just believe that multiple sources of economic security is better than one, and that's kind of the future that we're aiming for. And from AVS standpoint as well, we also do believe that all the AVSs eventually, if they're doing dual staking module in, I think considering Trio or more sources of economic security and diversifying that is a reasonable path forward. And Solana provides a interesting resource and community as it brings in more users, as it brings in more depend and number of things that they're specializing in. So, our job is to really bring sort of Cosmos, Solana, Ethereum closer together at the eventual state of AVSs and restaking. We believe that is basically you can pull security, economic security from anywhere. And so, that's kind of the end goal that we envision. And we hope to provide that and be the first example of that. Us pulling it from EigenLayer ourselves and Solana, and dog food our concept.
Thanks a lot, Henry. But yeah, last but not the least, we have Ken from Polymer Labs, and Polymer is also doing a sweet bounty worth 10K, the details of which would be out by the end of the week or next week. But Ken, would you like to talk about Polymer and maybe tease the devs about the bounties that's coming for them?
Yeah. So Polymer is the interoperability hub of Ethereum. It's essentially bringing the IBC transport layer from the Cosmos ecosystem to Ethereum rollups by separating, IBC's transport level execution from like application level execution that happens on these connected rollups. It uses Ethereum settlement, and we're also integrated with EigenDA. And so, as mentioned, we're going to be putting out our bounties in the next couple of weeks, but it will be around, how you can integrate EigenLayer and EigenAVS to create interesting new use cases, like interoperability use cases on Ethereum rollups. But really excited for it. Definitely reach out and we'll be available to connect.
Thanks a lot, Ken. And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. The next 30 minutes with all the devs would look like them, me and them just going over the hackathon page, taking them over the tracks, and the short timeline. You're welcome to stay if you want to, but definitely if your time zone and calendars do not allow, feel free to, hop off and do your thing. But like I said, we will also be connecting in the next series of workshops that would be happening during the course of this hackathon. Thank you for the time today, and thank you for sharing about what you're building.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Yeah, Mishika, Lane, I'll let you guys take lead from here.
Thanks, Steve. So that was with all the partners and sponsors, not all, but a few of the partners and bounty sponsors that we have for HackAVS. I would love to now take you all through the different tracks and through the hackathon page in general. We have bounties worth 25K. And apart from that, we also have a very sweet prize pool that you would want to trust me on, because that would be announced super soon. And like I said, that would be a super sweet prize pool plus the bounty sponsors that we currently have. I will just share my screen now and take you all through the hackathon page, which would introduce the timeline and the different tracks that we have. Lynn, can you see my screen? Okay, I'll move ahead with it. This is the hackathon page on DoraHacks. You go on hackathon, and then this would be, you can find it in the first few carousels of the page. This is the detail page, which essentially captures all the information about the hackathon, what the hackathon is about, but essentially, just as you saw a lot of our guest speak, it is all about empowering the EigenLayer restaking ecosystem, building on shared security, diving down into different use cases, etc. But we are kicking it off today. The live workshops would start from the next week, go on till the end of May. maybe would exceed May, because we do have a lot of things for you to talk about, a lot of different kind of technology. You would definitely feel overwhelmed, but just trust the process and just go through it, build, and we're more than happy to connect you with any of the mentors, judges if you want. And the judging panel is essentially a combination of a lot of venture folks, of a lot of builders, of a lot of AVSs, and definitely the EigenLayer team themselves. The judging would go on from June 7 to 17. So this is the period where all the judges would come together and have a look at all the projects, decide the winners, and so on. So essentially, you would want to start building as soon as possible so that you're able to turn in your build or turn in your project ASAP. And then after the judging, the demo day would also go on. As we do the judging, we would invite the projects on a rolling basis to showcase their project, to demonstrate what they've built, and so on. We have different tracks. We have about 7 to 8 tracks, plus a lot of bounty partners as well. The track 1 is about the ETH roadmap expansion and acceleration with EigenLayer, which would be aligning your use case with EIP 4844, dank sharding with EigenDA, and just demonstrating through your dApp that how the EigenLayer block space can be scaled. The Ethereum block space can be scaled with EigenLayer. The track 2 is open source explorers and restaking intelligence. We've seen a lot of LRTs come up. With that also comes the need to have these open source explorers, and maybe yield aggregation platform or any other sort of yield intelligence tooling. So that is what we invite over here. It can be an EigenLayer block explorer, maybe MEV capturing, staking dashboards, L2 beat for operators, and so on. Then track 3, we have AVS tooling, with a lot of AVSs coming up, like you just saw, and all of them being very hot and building on real world use cases, etc. The team would also want tooling for the operators, etc. A lot of AVSs, a lot of operators, so would definitely be a demand for, let's say, operator payment calculation, operator performance optimizers, building open source AVS framework. Maybe it could be snapshot voting for AVSs, automations, etc. Then track 4 is about decentralized oracles. A big theme on EigenLayer is also decentralized oracles, which teams like OpenLayer and eOracle are building. But yeah, this and a varied number of things can be done using oracles. You can build dApps which are like AVS specific CLOB, token factory on AVSs, maybe on-chain stock and equity trading, etc. Track 5 is about ZK. We've seen a lot of co-processors coming up, definitely, like Brevis, Polyhedra, etc. So it's going to be centered around them. Again, the ZK technology paired with restaking. And this can be ZK bridges, expanding your use case to interoperability, cross-chain use cases, ZK rollups, etc. Track 6 is about DeepIn, like Pankaj from Witness Chain also spoke about. This would be more of a use case track, wherein you would, you definitely building is also invited. But what we would also appreciate is if you can dive down deep into the different use cases of DeepIn and how EigenLayer shared security can be utilized for the same. That would be super cool. And apart from that, developers can also build and execute their logic on the decentralized applications that they build, which is sort of again going back to the roll-up watchtower topic that we spoke about, would be dictated by roll-up states and has to do a lot more with watchtowers. Then track 7 is Cosmos and EigenLayer alignment. We've seen a lot of other players ramping up to share security with the different dApps. And like Henry also mentioned, that crypto economic security can definitely be diversified using different blockchains. And we can take it just beyond Ethereum. It could be like, some adopting from Ethereum and Cosmos SDK framework. It can be an IBC-enabled AVS. It can be restaking on Cosmos, and so much more that you can do with all of these different ecosystems. Track 8 is Noster EigenLayer, content storage, social and decentralized media. Definitely a greater, block space also allows greater throughput dApps to be coming in. So adding economic security, guaranteed programmability to Noster would expand the capability. So again, it encourages a lot of decentralized content applications, social media, and other, creation, maybe live streaming tools, etc. Yeah, there are a few entry requirements that you need to take care of. Definitely goes without saying, as the name of the hackathon suggests, your project should be built on either EigenDA or any EigenLayer AVS. Your submission should, just have one, should at least include a vision, maybe some functionality. The functionality can be maybe a demo video, a working model, etc., or a GitHub repository. If it's not open source, you should grant access to the email ID mentioned over here so that we can, go through the judging process smoothly. Definitely plagiarism is prohibited. A lot of AVS is coming up. We understand that, a few AVSs can be, a few projects can be similar in some cases, but you shouldn't just copy paste another project and submit to this ecosystem, to the hackathon. Just, don't abuse user privacy and data. There are a ton of judges that we have. We've just announced the cohort 1 and cohort 2 of our judging panels, which includes folks from Omni, Layer, and Archetype, Figment, A16Z, eOracle, Picasso, OpenLayer. We will also be announcing the cohort 3 of the judges very soon, so you can also keep an eye out on the DoraHacks Twitter handle. Yeah, so judging criteria again, all the bounties, all the partners would have their own judging criteria, which would also be live very soon, and different requirements to be eligible for that bounties or that specific track. But yeah, this is like a basic overview that the project should have some kind of impact on the ecosystem. It should bring in some innovation. It should be aligned with the ecosystem, like user demands, user engagement, and the ecosystem engagement as well, as in it should bring in some kind of value to the EigenLayer ecosystem. If you have any other questions, again, I know it might be a lot for you to take in, but trust us, there would be a series of workshops coming in with all the partners, especially the bounty partners separately, wherein you can ask more questions, wherein you can understand more about the bounty or the project, and then you can, build in a much more comfortable way. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Telegram, Twitter, or reach out to me personally. I am at Mishika, MISHIKA 251 on Telegram and Twitter. These are developer resources, and like I said, we would be adding a lot more resources to the details page and the bounties page as well. So feel free to keep an eye out on both. Yeah, this is the submission guide, which I would, shortly take you through. It's a very simple process on how to register as a hacker or how to submit your build. This is the bounty page, wherein you can find a lot more information about the bounties. Drosera is doing a bounty. Movement is doing bounty. Movement is all about the move-powered modular ecosystem with Movement Labs. Then we also have a bounty from OpenLayer, from Brevis, from Witness Chain, and a lot more partners. But the total bounty pool is currently about 25K, which if it expands, you will find all the information on the bounties page itself. These are the hackers that are registered for the hackathon. So, when you click on register as a hacker, you would be able to see yourself over here. This is a small discussion panel wherein you can talk about your ideas. You can also potentially find teammates, etc. This is another, ChatGPT-4 powered ideas that have been generated based on all the information on the hackathon page, but you're free to take inspiration from this tab and, just maybe modify or add in your own sort of spice to the existing idea and then build on it. I will quickly take you through the submission process and how to submit your build or register as a hacker, the first thing that you want to do when you come to the platform is register as a hacker. Once you've registered, there will be a pop-up which says that, hey, you have successfully registered for this hackathon. Or you can also directly go to submit build. And definitely, because this is like a very new ecosystem that, we've all come across, I am assuming that most of the developers would want to create a new build, and they would not have existing builds related to the different bounties or tracks already on DoraHacks. For that, you would click on create a new build. And the fields with the red star are the ones that are mandatory and you'd have to fill in, which means that you will not be able to move ahead without filling in these details. So the build name in this case could be, let's say, restaking dashboard. And again, this is, just an example of this is just to like demonstrate and go through all the mandatory fields. The vision could be getting data together. The build description. So this is a place. So first talking about the visions. The vision should essentially be like a one-liner which represents what you are building, which talks about, which at least gives the reader or the judge a decent overview into what you are actually wanting to portray with this project of yours. The build description is a place wherein you can actually dive deep into what you are building, into how you're building, maybe the tech stack, maybe, your motivation to build the project, etc. The category over here would be crypto and Web3. You can definitely dive a lot more into streamlining your category from over here, but this is completely optional. These are the project links that you would want to put in, and I would suggest the more context that you give to the judges, the more easier it would be for them to just follow through. This is the GitHub repo URL. This is the project demo. This is the demo video, and so on. This is the team information. So let's say if you are building in teams of 2 or 3, or just, if you're not a solo builder and you have a team of your own, you can add in the information. You can add the names of your team members. You can add the background, etc. So this is just a sample text, and I'll go with ABC. This is the place wherein you can invite your team members. You can just add in their email, and email and their inbox would be hit with the DoraHacks email, which would say that, hey, your team member XYZ has invited you to join their builds. Now, what this would enable is, this would enable them to also join you in this build, to have the edit access to, so to do things for you over here, basically. If you're recruiting, then feel free to turn on this toggle. Feel free to turn on this button and type about what you're recruiting for. Maybe it could be backend, front-end designer, etc. And folks can reach out to you from your build page itself. Now, these are the social links. I would recommend having at least 1 or 2 of your social links for the DoraHacks team to reach out to you in case, we want to talk about the price disbursement, the demo days. We just have some question regarding your build, or the judges want to talk to you, etc. This is your Telegram. Telegram is also Telegram is also mandatory, because that also sort of, allows us to reach out to you anytime that we want and talk about your build, the schedule, etc. This is another alternate way for us to verify your build. So feel free to also add in some kind of social over here. Check this box and click submit build and back. Now, once I do this, although I can just see empty over here, but when I click on this, I would be able to see my project over here. So now I can select it from here, select a track, the track for which you are submitting. We would also add very soon a bounty field over here that would allow you to select the bounties, the ones that you are actively applying for via your project. Check this box again and then submit your hackathon application. That is it for how you have to go through with the submission portal and how you have to register as a hacker, etc. But yeah, your hackathon has been successfully submitted. Once approved from the backend, your hackathon would pop up, your project would pop up over here. So that means that, you know, it's been approved and it's under, now after the end of the submission period, the judges would sort of judge your project from over here and so on. But yeah, that was it. I know, again, you know, it can be a lot of information. Feel free to reach out to us anytime. Feel free to also reach out to us if you want us to connect you with any of the mentors, any of the judges. We would be adding a lot more information, a lot more context to the hackathon page itself, to the tracks, to the judges. We would also have a list of all the judges over here. This is definitely just cohort 1 and cohort 2 that you can see, but we have a lot of exciting updates for you very soon. And the biggest thing that I want to talk about over here is, apart from, like I said, the 25K bounty prize pool that we have for you, we would also be announcing the bigger prize pool for you very soon. And trust me on this, it would be a very juicy, a very rewarding one. So I would recommend you to put your hacker hats on and start building for HackAVS. Super excited to host the HackAVS. Also want to give off a big thanks to all the partners, all the judges, all the mentors over here, and definitely all the hackers who would be building this in this hackathon. And yeah, welcome to HackAVS. Yeah, I think that was it for this opening ceremony. We'll wrap it off over here. Feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to go through the hackathon page itself if you want to revisit anything. If you also want to revisit anything from the guests section, this video will be up on YouTube. So feel free to, you know, just scroll through the different timelines of this video. Yeah, and I'll see you soon in the next workshop. Thank you. Take care.